Hi, and welcome back to my studio. Today I'd like to show you how to create some texture in a very simple way using your watercolors and a technique called dry brush. You'll see that all I'm doing is working on some watercolor paper. I have my regular palette of watercolors. Won't matter so much what color you're working with to learn this technique. I like to have a spray bottle nearby, a brush. In this case, I'm using a bigger brush so that you can see it more easily. It's a round number 12, and then I always have some paper towels nearby. The first thing I'm going to do is activate my pan watercolors, and I know that this color is Payne's Gray, so I'm just going to activate that, meaning I'm adding water to it, and I get my brush a little bit damp. I just swirl it around. Then I'm going to take my brush. Now normally you would put the tip of your brush in and paint like that. But for this, I'm going to put the majority of the body of the brush, the bristles, into my paint. And instead of holding my brush straight up, I'm going to hold my brush more as flat as I can get it. And as I sweep across, there's automatically going to be places where my brush skips over the paper. That's the dry brush. So right in here where I get that texture is called dry brush. And basically, again, my brush is just skipping over the paper. And I can control the amount of paint on my brush. I can make it pretty dark, and then it'll skip. I can let that skipped area kind of play and show. But that's basically how I get my dry brush technique. Now to me, that looks like a great winter sky. I could leave it like that, or I can add just a little more texture. I'm taking a spray bottle and I'm just throwing a little bit of water, just a tiny bit. And it's really cool because those water droplets are going to act a little bit like a resist and kind of create this really interesting textural area that you see happening right there. So I love those textures for a winter sky. And of course, there's no rule about only using one color. So I might also just attach just a little tiny bit of the winter blue that we see often here in Denver. So that's the dry brush technique. Another application for the dry brush technique that I love is to think about an ocean or water scene. Again, my brush is as flat as I can get it. I'm just going to let it jump across the page, and I'm embracing those white areas. I'll leave those alone. For an ocean, I'm going to pick up a different blue and just kind of come across and let these colors blend together. I'm pretty much leaving the white, though, that I achieved from the dry brush. And you can imagine now that that is an ocean. And let me put in a bit of sky above it, as if there are clouds. And I'll play with one of my favorite colors, which is the sea glass, and I might drop some of that in. And that dry brush technique has just helped to create this feeling of a body of water. So play with the dry brush, have fun, let me know what you think.